In this episode, we talk to two special guests to discuss what we've been playing and dive into teaching games to your friends and family. Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 19 of OnDeck, a podcast about tabletop gaming in the Philippines. If it's your first time listening in, welcome to the show. My name is Glory, and I host this podcast to hopefully help you curate your collection and share the joys of tabletop gaming to your friends and family. So, welcome, everyone. Welcome to another show. I hope you had a good couple of weeks despite everything that's been happening in the world and in the Philippines specifically. I know that it's been gloomy because of everything that's on the news right now, especially here in the Philippines. The cases are still rising. People are getting stressed because we don't know if we're going back to enhanced community quarantine, getting on a lockdown again. But instead of adding to the gloominess, I hope that I am able to provide you with some sort of entertainment through this show. Personally, it's been a busy couple of weeks for me. I think I've said this. What's new, right? I've said this a couple of times, actually more than a couple. And if I just realized if I would get a peso every time I've said that I was busy with work in this podcast, I'd be rich enough to not have to work. But what I noticed, especially in the workplace, is that burnout has actually been becoming more rampant. And more people are beginning to acknowledge it because of the whole work from home scenario. There's even a thing called Zoom fatigue because people are so tired that they're online all the time. They have to go on Zoom calls. And before everything could be, settled down through an email, now you have to get on a video call. So if you are experiencing that, as I think I am, it's more important now to find a particular activity that truly gives you joy. So, like I said, this has been happening to me, and that's why I decided to go back to my normal life before the whole situation. And that means board games, even if it's not with a big group. All of my board game plans are canceled because of the quarantine. But, I decided to go back into more regular board gaming, like finding the time, carving out time to play with Blue, play with my siblings, and of course, podcasting. Also, I've been very, very active in Instagram lately because you just gotta have that activity that brings you joy and not be consumed with the whole pandemic. Not to say that you don't care about it, but at least let's not make it our whole lives. Anyway, enough of that. I'm so excited to tell you guys what I've been working on for the past few weeks. And if you're super observant, you might have noticed it already by now. But I have included timestamps to improve your listening experience. Now, you can skip to specific parts of the show if you're in a hurry, but if you've got the time, I'd still appreciate you sticking around for the whole shindig. So far, the only venue where this doesn't seem to work so well is Spotify. But if you're on Overcast, Apple Podcast, or even YouTube, because my podcasts are in YouTube, it should work perfectly fine. And if not, let me know so I can fix it. And in line with improving your listening or watching, if you're in YouTube, experience, I have also included links to the specific games featured in the episode to help you if you're looking for that particular game. This is a feature I always appreciate when I'm listening or watching content online. And to make the resource useful for everyone, because I'd noticed that I have some listeners from the US, some from other countries. I've included both Amazon links if you're not from the Philippines and also local online FLGS if you are, because hashtag support your friendly local gaming stores. Please note that some of the links may be affiliate links, so I do earn a small commission when you buy through those links. So thank you so much in advance for helping support the Board Gamer PH. I also noticed that for the past few weeks, I've been doing all the talking. For the past few episodes, it was just solo episodes. Well, I have been alone. So I decided that it might be best to include some other hosts for our feature topic. And since everyone is doing podcast online anyway, let's join the bandwagon, right? So I've invited Luke and Willo, who I met through the Gaming Library Curator program, to talk about our feature segment. It was recorded over Discord. It was very easy. Everything was free. I am so happy with the quality of the recording. So let's go to that recording now. So for this week's What Have I Been Playing in feature topic, I decided to invite two special people to join me for this episode. So sila yung mga lagi kong kalaro sa G Live Game Night. If you guys have been watching that, it's Luke and Willow. Hello guys, welcome to the show.
What's
Hello.
up? I
Hello.
feel so special.
Special pala tayo.
Oo nga eh.
Of course, special
Kala
kayo.
ko inaaway lang tayo sa pag naglalaro pero special pala.
Grabe ko naman sa inaaway. Hindi naman lagi. So, Luke and Willow are two special people that I have recently met because of Gaming Library. So, I've been talking about this. I have a joint project with Gaming Library where we stream our game night. And now, since ECQ, actually community quarantine, hindi na kami talaga nakakalaro. Instead, we do a talk show. But for majority of last year and this year, nung first part of this year, we have been streaming our game night. So, Luke and Willow are always there. Part sila nung main crew. Si Luke actually yung laging nagtuturo ng games.
The
Si Willow
master.
naman yung, yes, the master
Ako
teacher.
ako yung laging inaaway.
Si Willow naman yung my fans. Meron siyang Willow Natics
Fan base.
fans. Yeah.
It consists of Jericho and some
And
other
your
people.
brothers.
Yeah.
Okay, so for this week's What Have I Been Playing, I asked them to share what they have been playing during the whole community quarantine. So hindi lang to for the past 2 weeks, but for the whole community quarantine. Instead of boring you with my non-playing time, kasi hindi ako masyadong nakakalaro ngayon, I'll just ask them to share. So, Luke, ikaw muna. Anong mga nalalaro mo recently?
Okay. So, board games, recently nalalaro namin Silver and Gold. Tapos, nung nandito yung friend ko nung isang week, after na ng ECQ, so lumuwag na. Naglaro, tinanray namin ituloy yung Queensdale. Hindi pa rin kasi namin tapos eh.
Yeah, so natapos
Hanggang
na ba?
Hindi po. Nasa parang
So,
first
okay.
half pa lang kami. Haba niya. 19 games ata siya eh.
19 games? So,
Oo.
nasan ka na ngayon? Nasan ka na?
10.
Not bad. Halfway pa rin.
Yeah.
Parang ano lang 'di ba? An hour plus. per
Mabilis lang kasi siya. Like,
Yeah.
nakalaro kami like ng 5 games within a day. Parang ganon. Tuloy-tuloy.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
But would you
Siyempre
say
wala
na,
naman magawa.
is that the only legacy game that you have played? Or meron pang iba?
Yung Machikoro legacy.
Oh, pero hindi nyo pa natapos yun eh. Actually, pa kayo.
Oo nga. Hindi pa natin natutuloy actually.
dahil sa ECQ. Di ba kakastart nyo lang nun? Yeah.
So,
Yeah, so offline, the gaming library people have opened a box of Machikoro and played the first game on stream, 'di ba? And then after no first game, gusto nila ulit pero off camera na 'yon kasi para hindi masyadong spoiler.
pero hindi rin natuloy kasi nga
Yeah.
around this time nag-quarantine na.
Yep, nag-quarantine na. So Silver and Gold and Rise of
Queensdale.
Queensdale.
Pero shout out ko lang kung mahilig kayo sa board game pero gusto niyo maglaro mag-isa. at willing kayo mag-aral ng bagong thing. So, naglalaro ko ngayon ng Civilization 6. Ayun. 20 hours
Saan?
na ako within the last 4 days.
Wait, Steam yan?
Sa Steam.
Binili ko
Yeah.
yan nung nag-sale eh.
Civilization
So,
6.
yeah. But not the,
Oh
ano
my
yun yung
gosh.
parang, yung Legacy, hindi yung parang ano nila, ano ba yung Ultimate
What?
Edition? Hindi ganun.
Dapat yun ang bilhin mo. Kasi marami na
Bakit?
agad content. Parang may kasama
Ah,
ng 6 na civilizations na dagdag
Sinisales to ka
pa.
na ni Luke.
oo
Oo,
nga
tapos
eh.
sulit talaga. Pag binili mo
Parang nasa
parehong
GL lang tayo niyan.
expansion,
Sulit na sulit talaga.
pag bumili ka
Ganyan niya.
ng 2 expansion, para ka nang bumili ng 2 Civilization 6 games. My gosh.
Ganyan niya ako si Mail Stock sa Suburbia Collector's Edition eh. Ganyan na ganyan.
Pero di mo
May
pa
kasama,
nalalaro.
may kasama ng 2 expansion.
But
Yung
that one's
sulit na
worth it
sulit
though.
talaga.
Pero worth it
That's true.
naman eh.
Oh, worth it. Yeah,
That's
worth
true. That's true. So,
Nalaro mo na ba?
hindi pa. Ay, Suburbia? Oo.
Oo.
With
Hindi.
you.
Na, yung copy mo.
Hindi pa. Naano ko lang unboxing. So Civilization 6 yung nilalaro mo na video game ngayon.
Yes.
So, hindi ko pa siya
Worth it.
natatry.
Kasi basta at least 75% ng ang babayaran mo, so 25% off. So, sobrang sulit na kasi ang laki nung game.
Okay, ikaw Willow, what have you been playing?
I have been playing my party board games. Why? Kasi we started a channel, kaming magkakapatid namin. We made Aniso on YouTube and where we play games, challenges, and we figured out na the best games were the party games to play. So yung mga 5-second rule, some concept, a few made-up games na using yung mga board games, ganun. That's it actually for...
Taco Cat.
Oh yeah, Taco Cat. Yun. That's it for
Yeah.
like offline games. Pero most of the time ngayon, puro video games na lang din nilalaro eh. But
Anong video
what's
games?
interesting nga is I play video games pero board game style pa rin yung mga games na nilalaro ko. Like
Well,
Slay
tignan mo
the...
rin ako, di ba?
Yun nga eh. Like Slay the Spire. It's a deck builder.
Deck building, masaya yan.
Roguelike deck building.
You know, I've been hearing Slay the Spire from the Dice Tower people. Maganda
Yeah,
daw talaga.
Kasi para siyang board game eh.
Imagine mo
Oh.
yung Star Realms na app sa phone na free. Pero like
Nagle-level.
and 100 times better. Mas
Pati parang
clean.
dungeon.
Yeah, so you go through the dungeon, you kill certain monsters, tapos at the end of that, you get a card or a reward, and then you put it in your deck, and then you try to thin out your deck like the usual deck building thing. So, tas ang daming style of playing talaga, as in, you can just go hit hard, or you can just defend, wait for them to kill themselves, mag-poison ka lang, yung mga ganun. Ang dami talaga eh. Kaya I'm actually in love with it. Ang dami ko ng playthrough. Some of them
Oh
I
my
stream. Yeah.
Ang dami pang like mga games na tulad niyan eh, like Darkest Dungeon. Pati yung, meron pa isa yung bago, Grifters.
Yeah, Hack City din. It's a trend nga ngayon sa Steam eh, na
parang dumadami mga roguelike deck building.
Or
dungeon
board game
crawling.
Style. Yeah. So that's one.
Slay the Spire, mag-isa ka lang, wala siyang multiplayer option.
Wala.
But then again, video game naman, so.
Well,
Super clean.
Civilization, pwedeng multiplayer. Glory, laro tayo.
Sige. Okay, so those are things I'm going to check out after this. Civilization 6, well, meron ako nun. Pero I think, aralin ko na siya. And Slay the Spire.
Yep.
Nag-sale ba yan sa Steam?
Yes.
It did. I bought it for like...
Yung July, diba, summer sale, so almost everything is on sale.
Yeah. I think 100 something or 200 lang ata yung Slay the Spire. No? So,
pero magkano talaga siya?
500?
Yeah, 500
Oh, medyo
400.
mahal
Yep.
No, that's not bad actually.
Oh, that's true.
If you compare it to like yung
kasi
mga board games na binibili
Pati
din natin.
it's a roguelike. Pag ang roguelike, ganun yung price, parang sulit na kasi you're gonna play it a lot and a lot and a lot and a lot.
Yeah, hindi ka talaga actually magsasawa. I mean, baka
Mm-mm.
magsawa ka dun sa certain cards, pero hindi ka magsasawa na paulit-ulit yung dungeon that you go through, the people you defeat, the cards
Kasi
that you
if you
get.
fail pa, di ba, like, hindi naman ganun kalaking problem.
Yeah,
Mm-mm.
but that's addicting actually.
So,
Ayun, that's that, and then Valorant kasi it came out noong June lang. I've been playing Valorant.
talaga?
So
Kamusta?
it's pretty fun, pero it's a lot better with people that you know. I
But
don't play with
hindi pa siya like, they call that,
hindi pa talaga siya like CS:GO level.
hindi pa
Hindi,
abundant.
wala pang ano. Pero
Mm.
if you're playing with friends, tapos
Masaya
you're
siya.
just playing for fun, custom games, parang 1v1s or like team versus teams. I don't do rank kasi medyo toxic ang community
Mm-mm.
ng lahat
Well,
naman ng
any game.
games na
Any
ganun.
game.
Yeah,
Mm-mm.
so yeah. Pero very fun, Valorant. It's
Masaya siya.
actually, if you think about it, medyo if like large scale, medyo board gamey din siya in the roles that you pick
What?
Real time lang.
and the places where you do yung skills. Kaya actually nagustuhan ko siya. Like, you need teamwork din kasi. So, parang, parang medyo let's say use this card on this area at this time. Parang ganun yung type na naiisip ko sa akin.
Parang Team Fortress 2. So kung may naglalaro ng Team Fortress 2, ganun lang din. Pero they made it more, paano ba? Medyo reliant ka kasi sa teammates.
Yep.
Mm.
Team
Sa Team Fortress 2,
tactics na.
oo, medyo mas tactical. Kasi Team Fortress 2, pwede kang magloko-loko lang pero mananalo
Yeah,
ka pa rin eh.
that's right. Yeah. That's what I've been playing. Been fun.
Okay. Ako naman, share ko lang din what I have been playing. So,
Naglalaro ka pala.
naglalaro naman. Grabe ka naman.
Kasali ka pala.
Kasali ako. So, na-share ko na last podcast yung Ticket to Ride France, Ticket to Ride
Ooh.
Japan, na super gusto ko yung Japan, by the way.
Kamusta France?
Kailang.
Ano ba yung
I
dagdag
mean,
niya?
para siyang, it makes it longer kasi when you get a card, you also add a train track, yung color. So, it's up to you. Kasi parang gray siya lahat eh. Wala siyang colors lahat. Pero bawal mo lagyan ng train kung wala pa siyang color. So, kailangan may color siya.
So
So,
it feels like yung UK. Have you played in UK?
I haven't played the UK one. I'm super curious about that. Meron ka nun, di ba?
Yeah, kasi para siya technology, parang ganun din, like sa simula you can only get yung mga 1 or 2 train route. Tapos you have to buy yung specific technology para mabili mo yung longer routes. So, yeah, pero ata sila ng France na parang pinahaba yung game.
Yes, pero yung UK kasi, yung pag-build up mo dun, I think is more exciting. Sa France, okay, either lalagyan ko yung beneficial for me or yung pwedeng beneficial sa kalaban ko. Ano kayang gagawin ko?
Parang
Parang ganun
matagal
lang.
lang.
Baka
Walang
pag
pampatag.
iba yung kalaro mo, mas aggressive, iba maging feeling mo.
Pwede, pwede. Pero for me, medyo, kailang siya. It's
How
not
many
my
players?
favorite.
How many
I
players?
played it with 2 and 3.
Pero ano yung max?
5. Same lang.
Kasi yung ibang expansion, di ba, nagiging 4 lang.
Yes. Yeah. Parang Germany, I think 3 only. Kasi para siyang Marklin, di ba?
Oo.
Yung
Pati Switzerland.
10 daw eh.
Wow.
Yung,
Joke.
May
pero,
railroads na pala nun.
pero yung Japan, I really, really liked it. As in, kakaiba siya. Meron kasing Shinkansen, di ba? So,
Mhm.
may cooperative nature na siya.
Ew, char.
And then, yung Shinkansen, pwede mo gamitin pang complete ng route cards mo. Pero, building the Shinkansen doesn't earn you points outright. So, parang
Oh.
kailangan may balance ka. Pero may Shinkansen track na pag ikaw yung pinakamaraming kinontribute to the Shinkansen, may bonus points ka. Wala na yung longest route.
Pero hindi
Tapos,
naman like, kuwari if nag-focus lang ako sa Shinkansen, ako na panalo.
hindi siya gano'n. Kailangan may balance. Tapos kapag hindi ka nagbigay at all, may minus ka na malaki, -20.
It's like
Ayun.
Tokaido's what's that? Temple?
Hindi ko
Temple
pa
niya.
nalaro ang
Yeah, yung
Tokaido.
offering. Pag hindi ka
Yeah, the
nag-offering.
Yeah.
Tapos kapag naman ikaw yung last, kahit nag-contribute ka, pero ikaw pa rin yung last, may -10 ka pa rin.
Oh my gosh.
Oh,
So
no.
gusto mo pa
It's
rin,
so
'di ba,
mean.
Yeah, it is. As in, I really liked it. Sobrang excited ako to play it with more. So, nilaro ko siya 3 players. So, gusto ko siya makita na mas maraming players kasi feeling ko sobrang magulo na yun.
Up to 5 din siya.
I think up to 5 or 4. I'm not super sure.
Interesting.
So, sa Italy naman, I read the rules kasi. Sa Italy naman, may area control aspect. Kasi 'di ba may mafia sa Italy. So, medyo may family etos. Parang kailangan mo parang kailangan mo mangolekta ng ganitong mga territories or kailangan mo makakonekta sa ganitong territories. Then you get bonuses. Okay. So, aside from Ticket to Ride France, naglaro din ako ng Taco Cat. Sobrang daming Taco Cat. Kasi sobrang saya niya talaga and I agree kasi I agree with what you said, Lo, kasi I'm also thinking of doing some gameplays sa channel ko. But iniisip ko kailangan high energy games like Taco
Yeah.
Cat.
Yep.
Yun yung
Kailangan yung ma-enjoy din ng mga tao panoorin kasi.
yes, kasi parang 'pag medyo serious, of course may gusto pa ring manood nun
Meron.
like
Pero not as much as you want.
oo, and I feel like kasi yung ano ko naman is yung advocacy ko is to really get more people into gaming. So
Mhm.
if something like Taco Cat, at least yun mas makakaengganyo, 'di ba?
Yeah.
Yep.
You
So
have
and
King
also
Tokyo Dark pa.
yes, I have King of Tokyo Dark.
Did
Tapos
you get Space Penguin? Sorry.
yes,
Okay.
Yeah,
sinama ni
7
Hans.
yung kanya eh.
Magiging collectors din kasi in the future for sure.
Yeah, kasi
Mga 10
limited
years
lang
from
siya,
now.
no? Si
One print
si
run.
dahil sinabi ni Hans na pick mo ang Hues and Cues, tinry ko din siya. And
Oh.
ang saya niya, as in parang
Yeah.
ang hirap
Yay.
pala
Wavelength, 'di ba?
mag-describe. Oo, ang hirap pala
A specific
mag-describe.
Ng
hue.
color.
Oo, ng
Yes.
color.
Very.
Parang meron ako kasi 'di ba, you give one clue and then you give a one-word clue and then a two-word clue. So yung first word clue ko, seafoam. Tapos
Green.
oo. So, hindi ko na alam paano pa ide-describe. So, yung second clue ko was matte seafoam. Tas yung mga kaibigan ko talaga,
Kailangan the same
"Bawiin mo 'yan."
clue ba? Na
Hindi
ibibigay?
naman, hindi nga. Hindi, pero wala na akong maisip,
Wala
eh.
nang
Kasi
ibang mapatong
What
doon.
if what if
oo.
apple, seaweed, seafoam?
Well,
Pwede
puwede
ba
'yun.
'yun?
May
Puwede 'yun kasi
specific green kasi na
Yeah.
parang
yep. Tapos so 'yun. So, parang yung mga friends ko, "Bawiin mo 'yun, bawiin mo yung clue na 'yun. Hindi namin maintindihan 'yun."
Actually, gusto ko siya bilhin din kasi FA. So, pag nilaro ko siya
yeah.
with FA friends,
Yeah,
feeling
yeah,
ko
yeah, yeah.
feeling ko lahat kami magkakaintindihan pero yung mga nanonood sa amin, hindi alam bakit namin nage-gets yung color.
Actually, I wanted it kasi parang artist, yung mga pinsan ko din na artists, mga look style artists.
Ay, wow.
Yep.
For sure they would enjoy it. Kaya parang nung
Yeah.
pinakita nila sa akin, sabi ko, super recommend ko to. Especially to those with like creative-ish people. Or
Yes.
even a mixture of both in a group. Parang sobrang fun nun. Kahit parang magigets nila kahit hindi talaga nila gets. Parang ganun.
Yep. Tas may nakakatawang moment during my play na ang clue nung isa was periwinkle. You
Blue.
have to go to parang you have to go through a particular sequence, 'di ba? Una clockwise, then second counterclockwise. So, nung clockwise na, katabi niya yung boyfriend niya. Tapos, yung boyfriend niya parang, ano ba yung periwinkle? Like, hindi niya, hindi niya alam kung saan niya man lang ilalagay
Di siya
yung
nanonood
first
ng Blue's
guess niya.
Clues.
Oo nga. Hindi niya alam saan niya ilalagay kung saan ba banda. Like medyo pinkish ba siya, violet, alam mo 'yun? So parang nag-wild guess na lang siya. Kasi kung at least kung kami nauna, may idea kami kung ano yung periwinkle. So pwede na
Makikisabay
niyang
lang siya. Tabi lang siya.
Yeah.
oo, oo,
Kaso
pero
dumaan sa iba.
so 'yun. So enjoy na enjoy ko yung Hues and Cues. Thanks for the reco,
Yeah,
Willow.
thanks.
And
That,
then yung isa ko pang super nilalaro recently is the game.
Yung normal the game?
As in, the game, 'di ba nilaro
uh,
natin
the
quick and
red
easy?
again.
Yeah,
Yes,
kasi may
the
quick
red.
and easy eh.
Hindi yung quick and easy.
Yung normal.
Yung normal, the game.
Okay.
Sobrang enjoy ko siya. Parang it really reminds me of the mind.
Well, nauna siya sa the mind, so
Yeah. Yeah.
doon
Parang
kinuha yung idea.
kaya yung, I think ikaw yung nagsabi no na gusto mo yung limited communication. Yung may limited
Pag
communication na game.
cooperative, dapat limited communication para walang alpha.
Yup. Yup. Ang saya nun. Tapos yung Wavelength din. Yan. Yan yung mga nilalaro ko.
If you like the game, you should buy the crew.
I did. I did pre-order it.
Kasi
Naka-pre-order
para
lang.
siyang kasi para siyang the mind na the game pero may
Trick
tawag doon.
taking.
May hindi eh. Ang tawag doon? Parang isipin mo legacy na
May
nagle-level up. So,
campaign?
pag nalaro mo to, okay, tapos na siya. Additional rule. Okay, na-solve nyo to. Additional rule. Na-solve nyo to. Additional rule.
Oh, okay. And then,
Panoorin mo yung kay Tom Vassell. I think he explains yung kung paano siya nagle-level up. I think magugustuhan mo.
sige. Ako, pin-reorder ko lang siya by the mere fact na one,
Nominated siya.
nominated siya. Second, lahat ng podcast na pinapakinggan ko, puro the crew, the crew, the crew, the crew.
That crew is popular talaga.
Kasi
Yeah.
it added campaign sa trick taking the mind style na game eh.
Okay. Sige.
At hindi siya
Exciting.
pangit.
I mean, physically, pangit.
No, I
Physically.
like 'di ba pag if you make it a campaign baka maging boring, baka nonsensical yung dagdag.
Yung implementation niya is perfect. Right?
Yung implementation ng bawat rule makes sense every time.
Mhm. Okay. So for video games naman, ang nilalaro ko ngayon ay Tetris
Naglalaro ka?
99.
Oh my
Oo,
gosh, glory laro tayo.
Tetris
talaga?
Tetris 99.
Sobrang
Ah,
addict ko.
Battle
Sobrang
Royale sa
addict ko.
Switch
Battle Royale.
na
Pwede.
Tetris.
Sige,
Hindi,
laro
hindi
tayo.
natin hindi ko alam kung mapipili natin isa't isa though. Pero
Pwede
let's see.
yan.
Sige,
Pwede
tignan
kayo
natin.
duos, ganun, squads.
Hindi. I
Walang
don't
ganun.
know. Hindi ko
Corny.
sure. Pero
Cute yan pag meron.
nakakaano siya talaga. Like if hindi ka mahilig sa Tetris, pwedeng mahilig ka bigla dahil lang sa competitive aspect niya.
Yung kapatid ko nga, di naman niya alam talaga yung brick game dati. Kasi, di na niya generation yun. Pero sobra siya na-addict din.
Kapatid ko, hindi naman siya naglalaro ng ganun. Tapos nakita niya nilalaro ko, tapos binigay ko sa kanya, try niya. Minsan
Addict
nakikita
din
ko,
siya.
naglalaro na lang siya nun.
Yeah. Tapos, yung isa ko pang nilaro, the whole ECQ, na hindi ko nabanggit kasi hindi naman ako masyadong nag-uusap about video games here in this podcast, is Legend of Zelda. So, natapos ko siya.
Breath of the Wild?
Yes, Breath of the
Nat-
Wild.
Nice.
Wow, natapos. Ilang hours bago natapos?
So, ba't di ko alam? Di ba ako nagbibilang ng ganun?
No,
Siguro
nakalagay kasi.
nagbibilang eh.
Ay, check ko nga. Hindi ko ma-assess kung
Ako
ilang
kasi-
hours ako.
Yung context ko kasi, binili ko yun nung bago siya. Tapos, thesis yun. Kasi March, di ba? March lumabas yung Zelda. Tapos, May yung graduation. So, during thesis ko yun. Tapos, yun yung nilalaro ko pag nagpo-procrastinate or like, basta bored. Tapos, natapos ko siya, hindi ko pa tapos thesis. Tapos, chinek ko kung gaano katagal. Kasi, syempre, nagtaka ako gaano katagal na ba. Nakalagay 89 hours.
Ang taas.
Priorities.
I-check ko nga.
Priorities. Breath of the Wild before thesis.
Oo naman. Pati it took me 89 hours bago ko inisip sa sarili ko, "Uy, kakalabanin ko na si Ganon." Kasi
Ako parang,
kasi open world siya, 'di ba? Like hindi mo kailangan
yeah,
kalabanin si Ganon agad.
yes. So ako nga, inisip ko, I'll take my time.
Yes,
Tap,
ganun ginawa ko. I took my time nga,
pero
89 hours.
one night, biglang naisip ko lang, kalabanin ko na kaya si Ganon. Try ko
Yeah,
lang, tignan ko lang.
kasi yun yung idea ng game nga daw is when you feel
Oo,
like ready ka na, sige.
yep. So yan. So yun ang mga nalaro ko. Ang saya nung Breath of the Wild, I think highlight siya ng ECQ ko.
Mm.
Of course.
Yeah. So inisip ko ngayon,
Exploration. Para ka nasa labas pero hindi ka lumalabas.
exactly. Para, uy, luto ako sa campfire. Uy,
Uy,
kabayo muna ako
explore tayo sa
saglit.
forest na to.
So iniisip ko yung bilhin after, kasi binili ko yung DLC, so I'm completing the
Worth it
DLC.
yung DLC.
Yeah, worth it yung
Ang daming
DLC.
shrines eh.
Yup. Pero nagtatanong-tanong kasi ako kung ano ba yung medyo Breath of the Wild-ish. So Xenoblade
Witcher.
Chronicles daw. Yung Witcher kasi
Ah,
mas maganda daw siya PS talaga.
actually, PC you mean?
Well, or PS4.
Master Race PC.
Well, pwede rin naman yung Switch. Not bad yung port niya eh. Pero I think mas close yung Witcher sa uh, Zelda than Xenoblade. Kasi Xenoblade is a
Talaga.
JRPG na eh. Parang na siyang Final Fantasy eh.
Pero hindi naman siya turn-based battle, 'di ba? Ganun pa rin siya.
No, real time siya.
Okay.
Have you
Sige.
played Kingdom Hearts? Yun yung
I
malapit sa
I
combat
have.
niya. Ganon
So
combat ng
action
Xenoblade.
style.
Action style
Action
pero
style.
yeah.
Okay.
Tactical kill-based action style.
Pero ano din like mga ilang hours ka dyan kasi sobrang haba daw nung campaign tas pag nag-side mission ka pa.
Sa Xenoblade?
Yeah.
Okay. Check ko nga yung ano. Either ang pinag-isipan ko kasi before, Witcher or Elder Scrolls, Skyrim. Pero, hindi ko alam.
Mm,
Ayoko kasi matakot eh. Ayoko yung masyadong realistic. Kaya gusto ko si Zelda eh. Medyo
ah,
cartoon.
Witcher mas maganda. Pero ang realistic kasi sa Witcher yung moral choices eh.
Oo nga eh. Hindi daw siya for ano eh. It's really for adults.
More like hindi siya for the faint of heart talaga. Pag madali ka ma-stress, hindi ka mas-stress dahil sa combat eh. Mas-stress ka dahil sa mga choices na ipapagawa sa'yo.
Okay. Sige. Okay, so sorry for the ano, for the whole video game talk. I know this is a tabletop gaming
Ikakat mo yung
podcast.
iba.
Hindi ko kakat yan. But that's really what we have been doing. So I hope may napulot naman kayo kasi hindi pa naman tapos yung community quarantine. So if there's something that you want to check out, maybe Tetris 99. 'Di ba?
Yes.
So
Or Slay the Spire.
or Slay the Spire, at least ano pa rin siya, board game.
Board game.
Meron pa rin siyang board game sense.
Civilization.
That's true. Para ka nag-scythe. Okay,
Yes.
so our feature topic today is actually something na tinanong ng ating loyal subscriber, Jason. So Jason asked in one of the previous episodes, I think episode 17, he asked, meron daw bang tips on how to teach games to non-gamers specifically? Because he wasn't sure if kailangan pa ba niyang i-laymanize yung ibang terms or how to go about it. So,
Mhm.
I decided to invite you guys because I know that you guys usually play with your family or your friends na not necessarily gamers, 'di ba?
Mhm.
So, sino ba mga usually niyong kalaro? Luke?
Ako, friends and family talaga. Anyone na kaya kong ma-rope in. Tapos usually, like, I give them yung game na feeling ko magugustuhan na nila. Tapos, tsaka na yung mga games na gusto kong ilaro nila pero hindi ko sure kung matatype nila.
It's really, ikaw talaga yung gamer sa family and sa group of friends mo.
Board gamer, yes.
Oo,
To
board
the
gamer
point
ikaw
na ayaw na nila bumili kasi nandito naman daw ako.
Yes, exactly.
Same.
Yun din nafe-feel ko.
Nakarelate.
Oo, yun din nafe-feel ko sa friends ko parang, "Guys, may sale sa gaming library." "Okey lang yan, bibili ka naman, eh."
Sige, bili ka.
Yes. Sa family din, like, pag sila pa magsasabi sa akin may sale para bilhin ko daw, parang mga gano'n. Ba't di mo bilhin? Eh, ikaw
Oo nga.
lang.
Ikaw, Willow, gano'n ka din ba?
Yeah, mostly friends and family talaga din. I have like certain games that I buy for certain people. Ganun sila ka-special sa akin. Na alam ko kasi na may enjoy ng certain person na yon yung game. So, if I can buy it, I'll buy it. That's will play it. Non-gamers din actually. I think yung gamer friends ko lang actually is you guys and a BGC group. Sila Bench, Rainier. Yan. Yun lang yung gamer friends ko actually.
Same. Nagkaroon lang ako ng gamer friends nung sumali ako sa GL Curators. Pero
Actually, sa curators din ako eh.
yeah, and yung main purpose ko talaga for joining the GL Curators is to get to know the community kasi wala nga akong gamer
Same.
friend.
Mm.
So, ang kalaro ko talaga usually is my barkadas. So, iba-iba sila. Lagi ako nag-i-introduce ng game. So, sa isang barkada, talagang party game lang. Hindi na ako pwede mag-go further kasi tinry ko kahit Dixit, hindi talaga kaya.
Yan na yun.
I mean, hindi sa hindi
Grabe,
nila
Dixit.
kaya. Hindi
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 nila
sa
trip.
hindi nila oo, parang hindi sa hindi nila kaya intellectually. It's more of the
Maybe sa
attention span.
yeah, maybe if like sleepover siya, baka mas nila.
Yes. And yun din yung sinasabi nila sa akin na maybe 'pag, out of
May
town
time.
tayo or
Yeah,
sleepover
pag
baka
matagal,
puwede.
yeah.
Yep. Tapos yung law school friends ko and yung office friends ko, yun yung talagang mas heavy games. Sila yung mga kasama ko mag-Game of Thrones,
Yung
yun.
mga analytical, di ba? Mga
Hindi, parang
nag-a-analyze talaga. Or
Hindi, more like matagal na niyang friend kasi.
na-realize ko it's really about attention span. Parang kung kaya nilang, to go through
I-process.
the whole to go through the whole instructions with you na hindi sila parang, "Ano ba 'yan, ang dami namang iniisip, eh."
yeah.
Oo.
Actually,
So
napansin ko sa simula lang nila sinasabi yan. Pero pag pinakita mo sa kanila na worth it, magigets nila yan. May tita din ako na ganyan, like sa simula pinapanood niya kami. Tapos sasabihin niya, ay, dami niyo naman inaaral dyan. Tapos sinimulan ko siya sa masquerade nung sumali lang siya, ganon. Tapos mamaya nakiki-Chinatown na rin siya. So, ayan,
wow.
nauunti-unti eh. Yeah, I think nasa unti-unti eh. Like, noong naakala niya, hindi niya magigets agad. Pero like, pag na-slowly lagay mo na sa brain nila yung cognitive na idea na kaya nila.
Mm. Okay. So, meron ba kayo since yun nga, so since both of you and also I usually play with non-gamers, tayong tatlo. Meron ba kayong specific tips, in teaching games to non-gamers?
Non-gamers. I have like a layout of how I teach my games.
Sige, yun na lang.
Sige,
Let's do it.
I'll do a process, parang yung process ng pag-teach ko. So, ano siya? First thing is always the goal of the game.
Mhm.
It's for them to see kung ano yung parang ano ba yung ginagawa natin,
I-achieve nila.
ano yung what am I doing going forward, parang ganun.
Para may mindset.
Yes, para lang tama, para may mindset. The next thing is how they're gonna win and why they're gonna do certain stuff. And then the next step is just the tips. Yung mga things that I experienced dun sa past games na sasabihin ko sa kanila para pag ginawa ko, hindi nila sasabihin na, madaya, pwede pala yun. Mga ganun na type. So, that's what I go through. Pag first, syempre, you don't give a first-time board gamer a game like Scythe. I mean, you could, but it's gonna be it's a big jump. Para silang mag step over like a 5-step stairs kesa yung little step sila over that going to the second floor. Parang ganun. So, Why would you do that? Kasi you relate the heavier game to the previous games kasi that you taught them all. So, I have this cool story nga. I have these two friends na hindi sila board gamers, pero they saw my collection. They said parang, uy, Willow, interesting yung games. Ang ganda ng Scythe. I wanna play Scythe. So sige, sabi ko, sige, let's go to my house. I'll teach you some games and hopefully we can play Scythe. Pagdating nila, I showed them this gem game, Splendor.
Okay.
Tapos sabi
Engine
nila,
building.
yung Scythe kasi yung mas parang interesting, ganyan, whatever, ganyan. Mas gusto ko yung parang may battle and whatever. Sabi ko, just trust me on this. Play this first. I'm sure you'll like it. Hopefully you like it. Because if you don't, you won't like Scythe.
Dapat sinabi mo hindi naman war game ang Scythe.
Hindi pa naman nila alam eh. So after that, we played a game of Splendor. They liked it. They played it 2 more times, just one-on-one sila. And then, nung nakita ko na kung ano yung mga weird na tactics na ginagawa nila, I taught them Scythe. Everything na I could relate to Splendor from Scythe, I would. And then eventually, actually, they're better than me sa Scythe.
Wow.
Apparently,
Wow. You
they
need
just-
a monster.
yes, kailangan lang talaga nilang may way. May way para ma-view how to play Scythe. It's hard to learn a board game na wala kang reference. Pero I've learned that it's also hard to teach a board game na walang reference yung learners. So that's what I try to do. So that's just the goal, why they're doing it, how they can do it, and then tips, and then hopefully you can relate it to a previous game that they know or video game that they know. Pwedeng ganun din.
That's a really good story kasi ako meron din akong tip dito na ganyan. Try to recall games that you've already taught them para makadraw ka ng connection. So, for example, if they already know King of Tokyo, so they know dice drafting, Yahtzee style, then you can teach them Bang the Dice game. I mean, hindi siya significantly mas complex, but it's something that would make you teach Bang the Dice game easier or vice versa.
Think of it as like experience points para sa
Yes.
RPG. Na parang since they know this na, when you say this, you don't have to explain the term again.
Yes.
Sila
So,
na yung magsasabi na parang, oh, alam ko na yan, sige, let's go next. What's different naman?
Yeah.
Parang ganun.
oo. So pag kunwari, if you want to teach them zombie side, pero nalaro nyo na yung pandemic, then you can actually refer to action points, action allowance, di ba?
Mhm.
So parang mas may recall na sa kanila.
Mm-mm.
Okay. Ikaw, Luke, ano namang tips mo?
Well, nasabi na ni halos ni Willow yung main idea, which I think ang important talaga here is you start talaga with how to win or like yung ano yung end game, parang ganon. Kasi you have, kuwari, if yung game ends in a specific number of turns, sabihin mo agad para alam nila na matatapos to. Eh, di ba? Versus like a game na walang set number of turns, tuloy-tuloy siya hanggang sa one reaches a certain point. Kailangan alam din nila yun para ready sila for the long haul, di ba?
Yep.
Like yun yung difference like ng wingspan sa side. Wingspan, it's kind of quick to teach kasi it's gonna be over soon. Alam mong matatapos siya na mabilis. Pero side, depende pa kung magtatagal yung mga players collecting yung stars, di ba?
Yeah.
Yep.
Tapos, ako, another tip talaga is, I think for me, especially if heavier yung game, not even like too heavy, kuwari like kahit yung mga middle level games like Carcassonne or Cacao Suburbia, mga ganon. Yung hindi super heavy or even
Gateway
heavy.
Plus.
Yeah, Gateway Plus, yun yung hinanap kong term. Have the rule book ready, tapos try mong sundan kung ano yung headers ng rule books. Like, sabi ng rule book, ito yung explain mo muna, then explain this, then explain this. Usually, if maganda na yung pagkasulat ng rule book, yun na lang sundan mo. Kahit hindi mo babasahin yung rule book. Like, yung headers lang ng rule book, yung page by page order niya, yun yung sundan mong pagturo din. Kasi I noticed na some games, iba-iba din yung pagsulat nila ng rulebook eh. For example, like something like Carpe Diem, I noticed na before it explains muna yung general term, which is like yung paano nagro-work ang round. Then after nun, i-describe niya yung mga pwede mong gawin sa round. Then after nun, iisa-isa niya yung bawat action. Then after nun, tsaka niya i-explain yung different tiles or different mga buildings dun sa Carpe Diem, parang gano'n. Which compare that to something like Pret-a-Porter na doon sa game na yun, weirdly enough, ang sinasabi ko lang kasi yung game na yun, you can't say how to win. Does that make sense? You just say, ito yung end goal. Kailangan ikaw pinamaraming pera. Pero sa sobrang daming ways to get money, hindi mo siya masasabi talaga. So, ang gagawin mo, susundan mo lang yung sabi ng rulebook. Which is yung ginawa ng rulebook, inisa-isa niya yung action spaces. Then, tsaka niya in-explain kung ano yung nangyayari sa bawat round. Which is reverse nung pagturo sa Carpe Diem, di ba?
Yeah. May certain ways din talaga per game na you have to know this thing before knowing this thing. And the designer knows that naman. Kaya it's good to may reference ka yung parang headers ng rulebook.
Now, what if hindi ganun ka ganda yung rulebook? Same designer tayo sa Pret-a-Porter. First
gosh.
Martians or Robinson Crusoe.
Robinson Crusoe.
Sabi ko rin, hinihintay ko yung First Martian.
Segue ko lang, like, nagulat talaga ako na maganda yung rulebook ng Pret-a-Porter. Feeling ko nakinig sila kasi maayos yung rulebook niya eh. Pero like yun, example ko is First Martians or Robinson Crusoe, which is basically the same game, iba lang yung approach. Now, if ganun yung rulebook, ang maganda na lang pag ganyan is ilaro nyo na lang tapos explain mo how while you're doing it. Now, it
So
works.
practice.
Yeah, now it works if ganyan kasi cooperative game siya. Pero one example of a game na lagi kong pinapalaro ko na lang is The Crypto. Kasi kahit anong pag-explain mo, hindi nila magigets hanggat di nila laruin.
Yeah, that's true.
I agree.
And I think some people then, sa Dixit, after mo i-explain, minsan they still look glassy-eyed like talagang hindi ka nila na-gets. So you have to let them feel one round. Parang ganun. Hindi siya like, I think Ticket to Ride is an example na kahit ang dami kong binombard sa kanila, gets na nila kung ano yung gagawin. Parang ganun. Yun yung na-notice ko. So, you need to, for me, ang tip ko lang is, follow, may reason kung ba't ganyan pagsulat yung rulebook. So, follow mo yung rulebook. And at the same time, find mo yung way na you go through each aspect and you make the connections for them para magets na rin nila kung paano nagko-connect yung mga mechanics.
Notice that you do that din. Kasi when na-realize ko rin siya with Aliyah Ravensburger
Yes.
na mga games, 'di ba? Sa side niya, meron na siya nung summary
Yes.
para mabilis yung recall.
Yes.
And you can actually just go through that tas illustrate mo na lang.
Yes, ganun. Yun nga yung maganda sa mga well-written rulebooks.
So kahit pangit ang itsura ng games ng Aliyah Ravensburger, maganda yung rulebook nila.
Sobrang ganda na rulebook nila. The fact that they have summaries what do you call that, sa margins.
Oh, sa margin.
Like, I remember I haven't played like Casus of Burgundy for like a month or like sobrang tagal na. Tapos I just looked at yung summary sa end. Tapos naalala ko na lahat.
That's true. Feeling ko kahit hindi ko pa nilalaro ulit yung Casus of Burgundy from the last time we played it. I think if I play it now and just look at the rulebook, parang okay, gets ko na ulit.
Makakuha mo.
Or again, compared to First Martians, pag nilabas ko na ulit yun, kailangan kong hawakan yung rulebook habang naglalaro tayo kasi kahit ako hindi ko maaalala lahat ng rules nun.
Ganyan feeling ko sa Game of Thrones. Lagi. As in, siguro first chunk, kahit na same group first 20 minutes, 15 to 20 minutes is really just about rules refresher.
Actually, ako din. So, I don't think it's Yuna Glory. I think the way din kasi they wrote the rule book. Ang idea ng rule book niya is like an encyclopedia. It's not
Mm,
hindi siya ganun kasi magsulat yung Fantasy Flight
gameplay.
eh. They write
Hindi
it
siya
as
gameplay.
wala siyang hindi siya
Story.
parang hindi naman parang hindi siya nagfo-flow from one page to the other.
Mhm.
Oo.
Parang yung pagkasulat niya is ito lahat ng rules. Ganun lang.
Oo.
Yeah.
Tapos, it's more of an introduction to the world rather than this is how you play the game
Tapos like
from one end. Oo.
it took us like the third game para ma-understand yung what do you call that
Ports?
term? Yung term
Ports ba
na
yan?
basta
Mastering,
no yung from one land area
raise.
pag marami kang ships, pwede ka mag-travel dun sa adjacent agad yung isa pang land area. Basta connected by ships.
Hindi ko
I
alam ano
forgot
yung
yung
tawag.
term.
Nakalimutan ko
Pero
din yung term.
it took us the third game to realize na yun pala yung ibig sabihin nun kung bakit ka nag-ships. Kasi ang idea is you're making everything adjacent to you. Kasi walang nagsabi sa rulebook na ganun yung ibig sabihin niya. Parang ganun.
So how about specific jargons, guys? Do you use it when you teach?
If they played certain games already, definitely, lalo na yung pag alam nila. Pero, you can actually use yung mga inside joke jargons nyo. That's a way of teaching another game. Like, ano ba mga examples? Let's say, alam, yung sa Peria, like, alam niyo yung Peria game, yung may color game, ganon. That's basically also what you're trying to teach in a game like something you're betting for something. Parang ganon. Parang it's an inside thing that you guys know. Basta it's anything that they understand that they can reference to. Yun lang naman yung jargon. So kung they played like they know action points because they played Pandemic or what, then wala naman problema. Pero it's also nice to teach them pag attentive sila, pag you know they're in an attentive mood, that's when you start teaching them yung mga jargon ng mga yung mga board game terms. Para in the future, it's gonna be easier for you to play also and teach.
Yep.
Ang ano ko dyan is, what if yung game has specific jargon? For example, I'm looking at Smash Up. Yung idea of a minion, an action, a base, controlling a minion, iba pa pala ang controlling a minion sa attacking. Basta madami siyang terms, di ba? Now, if yung game mismo has a lot of terms na specific sa kanya, na I think you just have to push through it. Wala akong ibang mabibigay na tip. Kasi like, if maganda rin yung tip ni Willow nga na you do the inside joke. Pero ang problem is if they have to read cards and then it has the specific jargon itself dun sa cards, yun yung mahirap eh.
I've also had games like we use a certain term for like let's say attacking kasi mas fun for them also. So it adds also a level of like personal, parang may personal connection kami na parang okay, I'm gonna poke you in the whatever. Parang ganun.
Gets.
Gets. Kasi pag, when I refer to card drafting, I say 1, 2, 3 pass eh.
Oo, mga
Parang
ganun.
ganun. Yeah, ganun
Oo.
yung sinasabi ni Willow.
Tapos kapag sa Avalon for example, hindi ko na sinasabi yung minions of Mordred or loyal servants of Arthur. Sinasabi ko bad ka or evil ka.
Oo, yung mga
I think
pangit, ganun.
yun gets na.
Oo.
Yung mga
Bad
pangit,
ka, good ka.
open eyes,
Kasi
ganun.
mamaya pag sabi ko pa minions of Mordred, sino yun? Ano yun?
Hindi ko
'Di ba?
nabasa yung card, gaganon
Actually,
din.
actually mas maganda yun sa resistance kasi they just use resistance and spy.
And then sometimes,
Hindi
yes.
tulad sa Avalon ang haba-haba pa, di ba?
Kaya nga kasi nung ginagawa ko yung narration sa Avalon by myself, so nung tinry ko with the app, di ba, very specific na yung sinasabi, minions of Mordred, blah, blah, blah. Hindi na nila maintindihan.
Ako tinitiis
So,
ko na
yeah.
lang eh. Basta may tubig.
Okay, so meron pa ba kayong additional tips about, let's say, illustrating a round? Do you do it all the time?
Not all the time.
Depende pa rin sa game.
Yeah.
Mm. So
If the
usually pag
game,
complicated lang.
yeah. If the game is like mechanically robust, most of the time or yung may certain interactions, even as kahit may mga interactions na medyo confusing lang, like let's say yung coup, yung assassin Contessa confrontation.
Bluffing.
Yeah, I still do illustrations of like the round kasi medyo confusing nga naman na parang mado-double kill ka if ever you say na hindi siya assassin. Di ba parang ganun? Yeah. Pero games like Ticket to Ride, na ang pwede mo lang i-illustrate is get a card or place
Oo
a
nga,
trade.
oo.
Parang yung mga ganun,
Yeah. Hindi
hindi
mo na
na.
kailangan ipakita.
So Jason, I hope marami ka namang napulot with our discussion. And I hope you guys, meron din kayong napulot on how to teach games to non-gamers. This is something na I think medyo passionate din kaming tatlo about because it's really about getting more people in the hobby. And the main message, I guess, would be not to intimidate them. And I know it's quite tedious. Like ako, meron ako mga moods na papagod ako magturo because ako talaga yung kailangan magturo. So aside from having to review the game, I also have to teach it. So it is quite exhausting at times, but just remember that you're getting more people into the hobby and that yung mga tao na pinapasok nyo into the hobby are usually the people that you are with all the time. So
Yeah.
it's your
It
friends, your
takes
family. So it will
patience.
be worth it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Patience.
I think dahil doon naisip ko rin like don't use din like yung mga videos to teach it for you. Dapat ikaw talaga. I think yun din.
Yung mga videos na parang watch it play, that's for you to learn the game,
For you
not
to
for
learn how to teach it to them. Parang ganun.
yeah. That's ano.
Sobrang guilty ako dito. Shout out to my friends. I know, pinanood ko kayo
Oh
ng
my
Watch It
gosh.
Play.
Sisend wala sa group
Ginawa mo na
message.
ito. Oh my gosh.
And lagi,
Ikaw pala ang culprit.
lagi nirereklamo ni Blue is inaantok siya kasi Rodney Smith, let's say Blood Rage,
Ganda
Mansions of
ng boses ni
Madness.
Rodney
What?
Smith.
Tapos you gave
Parang,
ba the big games?
yeah. So
Yung mga
parang,
30 minutes yung video.
kasi minsan parang atat na din ako
Gusto mo
to
lang
play
laruin?
it. Oh, gusto ko na laruin. Tapos, kahit ako, hindi rin ako sobrang confident ituro. So, para for me, refresher na rin siya. Tapos sa kanila, parang tinuro ko na. But I know, guilty ako
Pero
doon.
pero
And
ano, if you watch then people explain the game, magkakaroon ka rin ng tawag doon. Like hindi mo rin ganun ituturo sa iba pero dahil nakita mo paano tinuro ng isang person, you get a sense of how to teach the game as well.
yep, I agree. Ako, honestly, it wasn't that effective nung pinanood ko sa kanila. I agree with you guys. Dapat ikaw talaga yung magturo.
Talaga.
Mm-mm.
I guess it's
So,
ano kasi it's paano ba? When
Hindi yung
your
attention
main
span nila din yan eh.
yeah, and it's your main goal kasi is why you're playing with them is to bond, to relate, to have
Socialize.
to socialize. So parang
Parang ginawa mong work sa kanila yung pag-aral.
yeah, and
Yung
sorry,
when
binigyan
sorry
ng
to
video.
my
Aralin mo
friends.
to. Aralin mo to. Parang ganun eh.
relating that lang to like teaching, syempre you want it to be relatable to them also. And
Oh, yun. Mas gusto mo makinig sa teacher kaysa sa video ng teacher mo nagsasalita
yeah, your
sa
goal,
iyo.
your goal is to connect with them kasi and relate. So I guess
Yep.
the way you're supposed to teach is that way also. Yung
Yep.
your pinaka meta goal, parang ganun.
Okay, so my friends, hindi ko na yung
Panoorin mo
gagawin sa
yung
inyo.
panoorin nila yung G Live para makita pa nila how we teach. Tayo mismo.
Yep. Mostly you.
You. Sometimes me, pero rarely. Parang
Pati like
Ako like
nakatagalog
once
na
lang
tayo
yata.
minsan, di ba?
Oo.
Taglish na tayo. No, you
Oo.
taught like 3 games na ata. Glory.
Mga iba.
Like Tiny
You know what?
Towns.
Well, yung Downforce di counted
Lost
kasi mali.
City.
that's
Oh my
one thing.
gosh.
When you're gonna teach, you have to know the game sana.
Yep.
Yeah.
So,
Shots fired.
okay. So guys, maybe we should start a channel where we just teach games in Taglish. What do you think?
Pwede.
Pwede.
'Di ba? Para pwedeng yun na yung panoorin mo, makaka-relate kayo sa amin.
Pero ang problem is baka gamitin nila yung video para yun na yung panturo. Like what you
Kaya
did.
nga.
Yun lang yung magiging problem, I think.
Okay, so thank you guys for coming on the show. I really, really appreciate it. I know
May
it's
natutunan ka rin, no?
to be fair, thank you for my para din sa akin. If you guys have anything to plug, you should plug it now.
For me, Aniso on YouTube. Follow Aniso. You can see that on Facebook also. I'm also streaming every other night. Video gaming. That's BIDYO gaming. It's a Filipino streaming team that we play certain games. May mga COD, Warzone, Fortnite. But ako yung naglalaro ng mga board game style ng games dun. So if you wanna watch me play Slay the Spire there, then you can watch that.
How about you, Luke? May ipopromote ka na ba?
Well, if you wanna look for me, tas message nyo ako. Well, look pagkatipunan, PAGCA, tipunan. Everywhere naman sa social media, yun yung ginagamit kong tag. Tapos like, maybe if, wala pa ako ipopromote, hinahanda ko pa eh. So, abangan na lang.
Ako na lang
Okay.
magpo-promote sa iyo. If you guys like artwork
Grabe.
and making things beautiful, you can contact me. Wow.
Yes.
Hindi ko siya
Yes.
binayaran.
Guys, si Luke ay ang nag-design ng Filipino meeples ng King Domino PH. Yeah, so kung meron
Shy
kayong
na
mga
ako.
yeah, so thank you guys. Sana nag-enjoy naman kayo to be a guest here on deck. Here on OnDeck.
Parang nasa office lang.
That's true. Parang nag-usap lang tayo, no? Okay, so we'll now go to the next segment. I'm not sure what that segment will be. Maybe from the meeple. Now, before we end, I just wanted to remind everyone that we do have an ongoing giveaway. Yes, we are giving away one copy of Taco Cat Goat Cheese Pizza, a super light and fun game that you can definitely play with your family. All you need to do is follow the Board Gamer PH on Facebook and Instagram. As of the date of the recording, I think Taco Cat is the latest post in both Facebook and Instagram. Comment in any of the posts #OnDeck Season 2 and get a chance to win a copy of Taco Cat Goat Cheese Pizza. And that is going to wrap up another episode. Thank you for joining us, and I hope you guys enjoyed the show. If you like this episode and the show, please share it to someone you think will like it too. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the show in whatever podcatcher you are using, Spotify, Apple Podcast, or Overcast. And of course, a review would always be appreciated. Stay safe, everyone. I'll catch you guys again next time. Happy gaming!